Okay, here we go. This is step 1, building a Makibox. Now, I don't have the final assembly sheet here, because of course the one that was included with the kit wasn't quite up to date. So if you want to follow, I would suggest downloading the one that's on the website at the moment, and I'll have to keep ducking back to that as well. So what you can see at the moment are the parts for step 1. We've got the Z-axis motor with the lead screw on it, a couple of bolts, 265mm rods, the 2 Allen keys of course, couple of moulded plastic parts, both the clear ones and the dark grey ones that go inside. Okay, I'm just going to pop to the computer and check what happens first. Okay, now I'm going to work mostly out of shot, mostly because I can't really find enough space on shot, but of course I'll put everything back there as soon as I finish each step. So, we start with the motor and this plate. Now, it is not clear to me exactly how the motor mounts onto this plate, that is, which way the wire should come out of the motor relative to the plate. So I'm going to put it on this way and hope for the best. And if it all fails, then I'll pull it apart and do it again. Okay. So. Okay, so that's the first bit, partly built. I will just mention here, there seems to be a lot of slop. The screw holes aren't exactly tight on the screws, so the result of that is that this part, I haven't done the screws up dead tight of course, but you can move it quite a lot on the motor, just because it's not tight on the screws. I don't know what effect that will have, but I'll tighten them down now and hopefully it'll be okay. So obviously as these are going into plastic, or at least they're going through plastic, I'm not going to tighten them too much. There we go. Okay, so now it appears that I put these shafts in, so okay, those just slip in, they're easy to put in, definitely no excessive force needed. Now side panels. Actually, I don't think I will do the side panels now. I'll pop the this part on which is the travelling block, I believe. And I'll just pop back to the computer and figure out how it goes. Okay, so it goes on that way, if that's clear. So the key things are, this tab is upwards, that is towards the motor, and it's on the side that has these little bits sticking out. Okay. Now, it's not entirely sure to me when these screws have to go in. It seems to be suggesting that you put them in first and then screw the thing all the way up the shaft by turning this handle. I think what I'm going to do is just put it on and then run it up. So you run it up the shaft and then do up the screws once it's up there, since that saves a good bit of time. And I can't really see how it would have any effect on the outcome. So, I've run that up most of the way. And now I'll put the screws into it. Now, I have to say at this point that these M4s are actually machine threads, but they're going into plastic. They're actually tapping themselves into the plastic. There's not a proper metal thread for them to go into, which is not wonderful from my point of view. I'm much happier when I've got a nice solid metal thread, but hey, it is cheap, and realistically the M4 thread's pretty thick. I don't think there'll be any problems with this as far as toughness goes. So I'll just tighten these up a bit. Obviously, have to be careful not to over tighten these, because if you do over tighten them, you'll strip the plastic out, and then you'll have a pain in the neck of a time getting it to go together. It would be highly disappointing if I did that on the first Makibox to turn up. So, that's on. I'll just show you. That's rock solid. Absolutely not going anywhere. And yet it slides beautifully, which I assume is precisely what John wanted it to do. So, yeah, I absolutely cannot see any backlash in that. Okay. And finally, the plastic panels. Just a sec. Okay, so there is actually a subtle difference between these panels, which I've just noticed. Obviously, okay, there's more than subtle differences, but the key one is this one has a yarn bit, this one has a square bit here, and because Makibox have helpfully made the spacing different on these, it's not possible to put them into the wrong spot. So, good job, Makibox. Good thinking there. So, let's pop these in. These are quite a tight fit actually. Not insanely tight, but tighter than I'm actually particularly comfortable with. I'm just a little bit concerned about actually snapping the thin plastic while I'm doing this. But that looks just about right, hey? So, that's step one. Done, I'd say. Hopefully. Anyway. Also, if someone reminds me online, I will check check where that cable comes out in the next, when I get the printer a bit more fully built. I'll just move it a bit closer. So that's where it is at the moment, coming out, how do you say it? It's 90 degrees away from these tabs basically, which is the best interpretation I can see from the instructions. Okay, I'll be back soon.